Hi guys to everyone, I'm Ada from Poison Rock and today we have an icon, Nige Rockett from Onslaught. First of all, Nige, it's really a pleasure to have you here with us. It's really like the history. I'm speaking with a piece of history music. So I wanted to ask you first, how are you? And I was going on there.
Yeah, I'm good. And yourself?
I'm pretty good. I mean, I'm really happy to have this interview, and I want to start, of course, since the beginning, back in 1983 in Bristol.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel? I mean, first, I want to ask you how Onslaught started. So, like, you can say a short story of the beginning.
Okay, it's basically me and two guys I went to school with, Paul Hill and Jason Pope.
Yeah.
And we used to travel around watching Discharge and GBH all over the UK. And it got to the point where I said, we're following this band. What we love music so much, live music. Why don't we
Yeah.
form a band ourselves? Which we did, but there was one big snag that we couldn't play any instruments.
Yeah.
So we had to go away and learn to play before we actually formed the band properly. So yeah, that was how it started. And then we found a drummer, which was a guy called Steve Grice, and that was the initial starting lineup of the band.
That's amazing. And of course, like you say, you and Paul started, but just with the highs of today, so of all the experience you gained in all these years, how did you see the band back then, like the young guys version of you? Like what is changed in your opinion? Not in in the album because we're gonna talk about that, but I'm speaking like in your experience, like in your way of playing, even technically, for example.
I mean, so much has changed. As I said, we couldn't really play when we started. So lots and lots of practice in the first year.
Yeah.
And obviously we were very influenced by hardcore punk music, but we were
Amazing.
also influenced by Motorhead and Black Sabbath. So um,
You, if I'm not wrong, you did an amazing tour uh, with Motorhead and Girls School Exciter. I mean, you did this tour with this huge name, of course, and it was something I think amazing back then.
yeah, I mean things grew really quickly. I mean once we'd learned to play our instruments a little better, we kind of took the more metallic route. Um,
Mhm.
you could hear the early influences of Motorhead and stuff, and yeah, that was just a natural progression for us to from. You can hear the big difference in Power from Hell across to
Yeah.
the Force, as we were learning to become better musicians.
Yeah, of course. And since I don't want to go, like along with each albums, but of course I want to speak about the first demo, "What Lies Ahead," that
Yeah,
was out in 1983. So, what about the first work?
the first, sorry.
The first work about the first release of your
Oh
first
yeah, yeah,
demo, "What Lies
yeah. I mean,
Ahead."
there was that was a kind of collection of different recordings we'd done,
Yeah,
um, very very early stuff, and
yeah,
it's kind of coming full circle now. 'Cause, I actually pinched some of the riffs from a couple of those songs for the new album, and
yeah.
we're going to actually re-record. I think two of those tracks from the What Lies Ahead demo on an upcoming release now. So
Yeah.
it's going to be
So,
pretty cool.
like you were saying before, your first influences were more like the punk or the heavy metal. So, what brought you to like go straight to the, we can say, thrash metal influences or sound that was going at that period back then?
I mean, I think, as I said, it's a natural progression. I mean, thrash metal's it's very, very, very new back then,
Yeah.
'83. So we kind of put the Discharge and the Motorhead influences together, and came out
Okay.
with this kind of unique sound. What we had for Power from Hell. As I said, thrash was very, very in its early stages at that time.
Yeah.
And I believe we were the
Yeah.
first band in the UK to kind of do some of this stuff, and in Europe as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I was saying that as well. That in Europe as well, because there was a lot of thrash metal, speed thrash metal, like in the United States, but in Europe we didn't. There was just you and some other bands
yeah,
maybe, but mainly
yes,
you back then. So
yeah,
you were,
especially
Yeah. So
It,
how does it feel to be like the main first pillar of this music?
we never really thought about it, really. I mean, it's nice to be there from the
Yeah.
early days, and a lot of the fans remember that, you know.
Of
So
course.
it's kind of cool. I mean, this is our 40th year this year,
Wow.
so
That's
amazing.
amazing.
So we'll be doing a
Yeah.
special release for that.
Really, that's amazing. This is a new tip, maybe that we are going to say at the end. That if you can
Yeah,
say
I
more.
can talk about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So going to the first record, Power from Hell, which
Yeah,
is in 1985.
yeah,
And then there is The Force and In Search of Sanity. So these three albums, that they are basically in the 80s.
yeah.
What you can say about that? I mean, you see some sort of difference of evolving on the sound. You see some evolving on the sound, some changing, or maybe they are more similar. And then, because as you know, like, of course, there when you came back with the in 2007 with the Killing Peace, there was more
Yeah,
changing there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
one because there is
Uh,
this jump of years. So what about this three album and then the return album? Let's say.
yeah, I mean, you can hear a massive difference across the
Okay.
first three records. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
again, it was all down to the amount of time we put into
Yeah.
improving ourselves as musicians. You know, and the songwriting kind of grew as well. But there was, I think, for me personally, there was too much of a massive change from the Force album up to In Search of Sanity.
Yeah.
Everything had gotten a little clean, and it didn't really turn out the way that I personally wanted it to sound. You know,
Yeah.
Steve Grimmett came into the band, and
No.
it changed the band too much. It changed our overall sound, and it was a little too
But
polished for what I like. You know.
it was too. You wanted something more tough, like back in the 80s, something
Yeah,
more.
yeah. I mean the
Yeah.
demos for those songs sounded really raw and heavy, but
Yeah.
the album was a little bit too slick for me.
Yeah.
Um, but we're going to re-record some of that stuff as well,
That's
and bring
cool.
it to a lot more aggression, which is going to be how
So
it should
like
have sounded.
a little bit back to the roots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
for sure.
amazing. And what about the like we were saying this reunion with the historical formation in 2004? Because Killing Peace came a year later. So what about this period? I mean, when you were coming back again on the scene.
Yeah, I mean, things kind of went wrong after
Hmm.
the In Search of Sanity album.
Yeah.
I guess. And I kind of got disillusioned with music in 1991. You know, the grunge thing came along.
Yeah. It doesn't only
Kind of,
affected United States, but affected as well Europe and the world.
yeah, yeah. And it kind of killed thrash metal, you know.
This
And
is what they say, and I think it's true, like you said.
yeah, I think so. And
Yeah.
we had some problems with the label, and
Mm.
as I said, all the stuff with the In Search of Sanity album. I just really lost all the enthusiasm for the band, you know.
Um,
And kind of walked away from music for all that time, pretty much. Did a
yeah.
few little projects after Onslaught split in '91, but nothing,
That
nothing
was
major, you know.
there was like a little, like the spark. Well, the sparkle was a little bit off. Let's
Yeah, I
say.
mean, then the guitars went under the bed for maybe 10 years without touching a guitar.
And I
So,
feel, how did you feel to touch it again after a long time? I mean, what did it bring to say I want to come back on the stage and play again?
I mean, when we discussed getting back together, I said no originally, but the guys managed to talk me around, and we said, look, let's just do rehearsal and see how it goes.
Of course.
The rehearsal was really bad. As you can imagine, I'd not picked up a guitar
A long
for
time.
10 years, and we tried
Oh my-
playing some of the more intricate Onslaught stuff, you know, and it was tough.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of go back and relearn again, which we did, and it was great. Once it came together, it was
Yeah.
an amazing feeling for it to all start again.
And as well, I think as well, coming back to the stage and playing in front of the audience was something that I think you
Oh
missed it
yeah,
as well. Yeah.
yeah, that was immense.
How react the fans after they see you after all these years coming back to the stage?
Well, we were lucky. We once we announced we were coming back together, a guy used to promote us a lot in Belgium.
In
Um,
Belgium, yeah, they have a good scene there in Belgium right now about thrash metal.
Yeah, they contacted us and said, would we like to play a couple of festivals? We'd only been back a little while, and the festival was, I think, was Exodus and maybe Hypocrisy and stuff.
Wow.
So that was really
Yeah.
cool. So we kind of jumped straight back in at the deep end,
Yeah.
you know. So lots, thousands of fans there, and it was incredible. So that
Yeah, of
really kind of
course.
lit the fuse again for us.
Yes, of course, because seeing you back to the stage, think about the fans, being me and fans as well. Like, you see your favorite band back together to play after a long time. It's something
Yeah,
like, wow, I can't believe it. Like, if you imagine me, for example, a band I love now, in 10 years, seeing them again, I was like, what the fuck? Like, thanks for that. And of course, after that, you released like other three albums, No Violence, Seven,
yeah,
six, sorry, and then Generation Antichrist. But I want to speak about the last Generation Antichrist.
yeah,
So,
cool.
what about this last album? Because it's on 2020, horrible year for all we know, all we remembered. Let's forget
Yeah.
that. Don't speak about that anymore. So, what about the last album that you released, which is the main
Um,
difference from the
yeah,
all the other album, Huge Pillars?
yeah. I mean, we kind of we discussed the direction we were going to go in with Generation
Okay.
Antichrist. We decided, as you said earlier, we wanted to go back to the roots a lot with
Yeah.
that record.
Important.
And as I said, I actually used some riffs from the old demos.
To me,
It really kind of worked to just to give it that little punky edge, you know.
yeah.
And it was great. I mean, I think it's personally my favorite album. Um,
Yes.
and it's gone down
It's
amazingly
good.
well with the fans.
It's good because I want to ask you the end of the interview. Of course, it will be inside the interview. What type of album, in your opinion, I should put as background while we are speaking? But I think I'm gonna put this one. You answer now.
Yeah, yeah,
But I want to
yeah,
just now, being of course, me. I'm more than 30 years old. Now there are a lot of new generation going back. We can say to the third wave of thrash metal, wanted to call it,
yeah,
because there are a band from Germany, a lot of bands even from Belgium as well, which are amazing. I'm not in it. But as of course, this new band has new fan. These fans are of
yeah.
course teenager, and maybe
Mm.
they even don't know who they are the pillars. So, for example, if a guy who's looking, or a girl, if you can say 16 years old, are looking to this interview, and they want to know Onslaught better, just like get really to the roots of the band, to the core.
Yeah.
Which album or song you suggest them to start knowing the band better?
I think personally, my favorite Onslaught song is a track called "Let There Be Death" from the
Okay.
Force album, the opening track from the Force album. So I think that kind of sums Onslaught up pretty good. You know, it's very aggressive, fast,
Yeah.
and heavy. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm probably on the new album is a song called "Strike Fast, Strike Hard," which is one of the songs I used one of the old riffs for on the chorus. So it
That's
kind of
amazing.
captures the whole essence of Onslaught with that song, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we were speaking about this new, we can say, this new band, this new scene. Of course, being out there, so basically seeing the beginning of the thrash Bay area, we can say that as well, the European one from the Germany. So basically, you saw all the thrash going on, speed thrash. And like I was telling you before, today there are as well bands that are going out. What do you think? How much you think it's changed this thrash, speed thrash scene?
Uh, I don't think it's changed greatly. I mean, I think I look at bands like ourselves, and, Exodus, and
Yeah.
Testament, and stuff, and
Hello?
all those bands are still putting out great music. You know, still very relevant and pulling great crowds.
Yeah.
And it's obviously inspired a lot of younger bands to come into that genre. You know,
Yeah.
we're making some great music as well.
Yep.
It's obviously very old school influence, most of it,
Yeah,
which is
that was
cool.
yeah, because for example, from Germany, I remember Dust Bolt. They are like they were doing, for example, because there are some band. I mean, there are for what I see interviewing like two types of band from in general in music.
Yeah,
The one that try to aspire to their own idol, so to look similar to that, and
yeah, yeah,
the other one that try to inspire and do a little bit different, so put the experimental one. So which
yeah,
do
yeah.
you think is the best way to do, like the old way, so keep it true, or be more
Well,
experimental?
personally, I think any new bands need to be a little bit more experimental, you know,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
to just try and copy the bands from the old school from back in the day. I mean, it's been done and it's been done very, very well. So
Yeah.
I think you need to take it off on a different angle
Yeah. Fucking yes.
to achieve success. Obviously, these bands are bringing in new young fans to the scene, which is very cool. But I think
Yes.
they definitely needs to have some kind of different edge to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, it's not easy because basically having playing like like the thrash metal how it's supposed to be played,
Yeah,
it's hard because always you'll be compared to the bigger band like you Exodus, Slayer, whatever. You will be always compared to the monsters, you can say, of
yeah, that's the
music.
thing. So
Yeah. So what can you say about for example, just some memory about that period, that beautiful period that was the 80s? If you have some memory
yeah.
that you maybe during some live or during some, I don't know, rehearsal or whatever.
I mean, the thing I would never ever forget. I mean, it was the best for me. The best thing Onslaught ever did. It was we toured Europe with Motorhead for a month, and that was just out of this world. Every show was fantastic, and the guys in Motorhead treated us so well. It was just so many memories. It was so much fun, and it was incredible for the band, and it really took us to the next level. Going out with those guys. I mean, it's just incredible what went on that tour.
Yeah, and as well an honor because of course the legend of the rock and roll, of the modern rock and roll was Lemmy. We all knew that.
Yeah.
And it will always be. We can say the alternative rock and roll because of the rock and roll is Elvis. So it's two different type of legend.
Yeah. I mean, everything you ever heard about Lemmy was true.
Really?
Oh yeah.
He was so meaning that he was fucking honest, and that's the best.
Yeah,
In the
very.
good or in the bad way,
Yeah.
was true, and that's true because when you are in this scene, more you are true to yourself and to the other, more you gain respect. Even if they
I
speak
mean,
bad about you, you always
yeah.
gain respect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what they taught us, and it was incredible experience
That's
for us.
amazing. That's amazing. And of course, I want to ask now what brings me more about asking you about, of course, the influences, which are not always easy when I ask the influences to the big band, because when I ask to the new band, it's easy, but when I ask to big band like Onslaugh, is a little bit hard to say, ask about influences. So which bands or music influences Onslaugh first?
I mean, first and foremost, it's Discharge. So that's my favourite band, and that's where our main influence, what made us want to start the band.
Yeah.
And obviously the Motorhead thing, we were massive Motorhead fans as well. It was just raw, aggressive music, and that was what made us want to start Onslaught. And you can still hear all those influences even today in our music.
Yeah, of course. Yes, sure. And here is a tricky question because many people hate me, but here usually I do like one and one, but I want to just put it in one question and ask you to choose 5 albums or musician, to make it easier, that influenced you, Nige, as musician. So first, like, for example, guitarist, you can say as well, just influenced you like human being, so your own life.
Yeah, I think the guy that really sort of made me want to step up and play guitar so much better was Steve Vai. He was just an incredible guitarist, Obviously, the Fast Eddie for Motorhead was a big influence in the early days, but it was Steve Vai who was the one who really kind of blew me away as a guitar player and sort of made me want to play so much better.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him when he was in Whitesnake, for example. They were just like sparkling everywhere.
Yeah, I really liked him in Whitesnake, actually. It was cool.
Me too, love it a lot.
Brought a new edge. He brought a new modern edge to that.
Yeah, as well, yes. But if to, for example, pick that some other musician that formed you, like during your, I don't know, adolescence, your 20 years, all your life period, which one you would pick mostly?
I mean, I was massive because I was a punk rocker as a young kid, and Sid Vicious was always my kind of my look up idol when I was a young kid, It's just so cool. He may not have been the greatest musician, but he's just such a cool dude, you know.
Yeah, he was just doing his life. Just
Yeah,
Anarchy in the UK. I remember just that it was one of the reasons why I started playing music as well, just
yeah,
to make
that's
noise and
yeah,
break everything that was in front of me. Yeah.
yeah, very cool.
Yes. And if you had, for example, this is another question, but we can make it really easier. If you are an organizer of a festival, just let's say you can choose the country, wherever. It can be even imaginary. It can
Right.
even be on the moon.
Okay.
With band which you like, could be even band from today, could be even Mozart. So don't pick
Yeah.
just even different genre. You can just, for example, three bands. Just say just a small festival just for you. So
Right.
what?
Okay.
How would you do it?
Ooh.
Yeah, I
Right.
know it's hard. Everyone else will do that. Yeah, I don't know. But
I think one of the strangest places we played, which was really amazing. We played in the middle of the Amazon jungle.
but that's
Um,
amazing.
there was no cars. You couldn't drive in. There was cars there, but you could not drive
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
into there. So the only way was boat or airplane. You know, and
yeah,
that was incredible. So I think I'd maybe hold it in a kind of
yeah.
place like that because we went down and there's a beach there and you've got vultures flying overhead and you've got piranhas, dead piranhas on the beach, and it was just incredible. So I think I'd hold it somewhere kind of weird like that.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
yeah, I think who will I on there? I think probably Black Sabbath maybe.
Okay.
Another band, yeah, that's what I have. Um, a band called the Kinks. I don't know if you've ever
Kings.
heard of a band called the Kinks. They
No,
were
no, maybe.
they were from the 60s, 70s.
Okay.
And when I was a little toddler, you know, about three years old, whenever the
Yeah.
Kinks came onto the radio, I
Mm,
was massively into it. And they were kind
okay.
of the I remember they were kind of the founders of early sort of heavy guitars, you know,
Yeah.
in some of their music. Um, so yeah, those Sabbath and uh, I'd have to say Sex Pistols.
Perfect. It kind of we can say like a historical, like a journey into the history of music. A festival
Yeah,
to yeah.
yeah, I think
As yeah. And speaking about present project, of course. So what are you doing today, Onslaught? Where is bowling around there?
right. There's a lot of very cool stuff going on, which I can't tell you too much about.
Just
But
only
the
the
but
things you can say, of course,
but the one thing I can tell you, we're looking to release a double album at the end of the year.
which is amazing.
Um, one album's going to be um, basically tracks that made me want to start the band um, from the beginning. So there's going to be one album of cover versions
Okay.
of all the tracks that made me want to pick up a guitar and form Onslaught. You know? So there's going to be Killing Joke track, Discharge, Sex Pistols,
That's amazing. That's really amazing
Dead
news.
Dead Kennedys,
Okay.
and kind of things like that. And then the other album is going to be we're going to re-record some of the
Oh,
classic Onslaught tracks. You
yeah,
know,
they were saying before. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, with the new vocalist obviously. So we've got the kind of picture of the whole of Onslaught up until
Yeah.
it's going to be the first period of Onslaught. You know, from '82 to '91 basically. And
So
with this cover album as well. So it's,
yeah. So it's like the new not the new beginning, but like a new chapter of Onslaught
yeah,
history.
just basically showing the roots of the band, you know.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really cool. If it comes out as planned, it's going to be amazing.
And you were saying that you already started to playing to touring. There are
Yeah,
some
yeah,
then about the next gigs of tour that or festival that you are in that you can say.
yeah. We've loads of festivals lined up now over the next 4 or 5 months. We've
Yeah,
got so much to do now. We're going to Brazil to play some shows
that's
and do some recording for this album when we're in Brazil.
yeah,
Because we want to try and catch that the Brazilian vibe with some of
yeah,
the material, you know, get that aggressive raw edge. Because Brazil played a big part in getting the band off the ground in the very early days.
Yes.
It was one of
Yeah.
the first countries we released it internationally. Power from Hell went absolutely mega over there, so
That's
it's going to
amazing.
be nice to go and sort of take something back there.
Yeah, because you will have the vibe of the time as well when
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
recording.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
literally back to the roots.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah, very much. I can't wait. It's going
That's
to be
amazing.
incredible.
That's amazing because basically you started like that, so you're back going back to the region,
Yeah, yeah.
but with
It's
the knowledge of today, which is an amazing thing. So basically, is will be like an enormous giant work out there. Like will be amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just incredible. I just cannot wait. It's going to be so cool.
So looking forward to that. And just a message for if you want before ending interview for all the guys out there that are still, like I was telling you, what they want to play metal,
Yeah,
rock, whatever, but they are maybe new in the scene.
yeah,
And
yeah.
to like, what would you say to that? Like, I'm going to pick an instrument I want to play, but I'm
Yeah.
confused. What would you say to them? To them?
You just got to work hard. That's all there is. Hard work. Practice, practice, and then as soon as you start writing songs, make sure the songs are perfect. Before
Yeah,
you release them anywhere. Don't set second best. Make sure it's
yeah,
110% before you release it onto the public.
yeah, yeah.
Because
You're right.
especially so many bands around these days, you only get one chance.
Yes.
Somebody doesn't like what they hear straight away. It's just like next band. So
Yes, 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 that's true, that's true. So before ending and leaving a message to your fans, there is a huge fans that was helping me through a lot with the question as well. Is one of the biggest fan of the Bay Area since he was born. Maybe he's followed Bay Area for a lot of years, even before I was born. His name is Domenico. He's a huge fan of you, and
okay, cool.
just for you to give him a greetings, he will be really, I think, maybe crying on the other side of the screen.
What was his name? Sorry,
Domenico.
Domenico.
Yeah.
Hi, Domenico. This is Nige from Onslaught. Great to meet you, my friend. And thanks for helping out with the questions.
Yeah,
And
so
we'll maybe meet one day soon.
what can I say? Thank you so much, Nige. It was really a pleasure, and of course, being in Europe in some festival for sure, we will catch up,
Yeah,
and
excellent. I
maybe
look
have
forward to it.
yes, and have maybe the chance to have a physical interview, which are always the best, with face to
Yeah,
face,
yeah,
laughing, drinking a beer,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just yeah, it's always the best way. Right now we have to
yeah,
cope with you it's like this, but it's always a start. So thank you so
yeah, yeah.
much. Wish you all the best for the work to be out there in Brazil, and looking forward to hear it. So have a good evening, and always thanks for the work for being like with
Thank you.
us
It's been a pleasure. Great
for
talking
me
to you.
too.
And please check out the dates and let me know if you want to come to any shows.
Yes, of course, of course, of course. Well, it's been gonna on. It's on an honor. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. It's gonna be an honor, really. Thank you so much. So see you soon
Thank
then.
you.
Bye.
Okay. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Spitting blood in the face of God.